Bert, you heard it. The Patriots, they open up on Sunday. It looks like they will be without Christian Gonzalez. What are you hearing about his absence? He hasn't played like in 5 weeks. What's going on with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's frustrating for everybody involved. Frustrating for Gonzalez. I think it's frustrating for the coaches. I think the expectation was that he'd be out there. When this initially happened, hamstrings can be a little unpredictable. And obviously I think you guys know this. Like, that's one of those that can be very easily re-aggravated. So, I think some of it does relate back to some of the durability concerns when he was coming out, So, we'll see where it goes, but this is one of those where you probably don't want to push it if you don't want to push it unnecessarily early in the year, because it is something that can linger over the course of the entire season if you do.
Okay, so there's been a lot of talk about whether or not this was something that was re-aggravated or if the rehab didn't go the way as planned. But what you just said I found interesting, because I don't remember hearing a lot of this when he first came out, the durability issues.
Well, it's because of his
Gonzalez.
Is it
solely related to that, or did he have an injury?
There were I think a couple nagging things in college, but more than anything else, it was like kind of his frame, his size, how willing is he to hit, and because there was never a question. If you guys remember, like, athletically, like, he was off the charts. But, just from a play style standpoint, toughness standpoint, like, there were some questions. It was like, okay, like, how is he going to hold up, in the grown man's version of football?
Right.
And, certainly he's already had his injuries. He had the shoulder, and, like, now you have this. So, I think that's obviously a big question with a lot of guys when they're coming out, and it's for different reasons. For some people, it's because they have a long injury history. This one was more about kind of his physical build and his play style and how much contact did he really take in college, and then how would his body react to a more physical version of football.
So whatever you thought about this matchup going into it, thinking Christian Gonzalez would be on the field and available for week one, how much of that does it change for you? How much will Las Vegas be able to take advantage of that?
Well, I mean, like, I think it definitely does change things in that it's like, your best player. On the flip side, receiver's not exactly Vegas's biggest strength.
Right.
So
and they just lost one they thought they had.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, like, there's a depth issue there for the Raiders at receiver. You mentioned the Amari Cooper situation. Yeah. Obviously, that is what it is. I don't know.
He's only 31, and he's retired.
Yeah, but there are just, like, certain guys, and he's been beat up too. And, like, I think they're.
Were they expecting anything from him?
Not really. And, it's sort of more indicative, Fred, I think, of where they were at the position. Mm-hmm. Like, where it's just like, all right, well, we got to start throwing darts now because we're not in great shape at that spot in general. And I don't know how much they're going to wind up getting out of the rookie Jack Besh from TCU, who they took in the second round. I feel like he was, like, a little underwhelming this offseason.
Didn't he have, like, a great Senior Bowl or
yeah,
great
like,
week
and he's got an awesome story too. Like, I mean, it's a tragic story, but awesome how the kid fought through everything that he's been through in the last year.
Once they got him
about his brother and everything else, right? Like, so his brother was killed in New Orleans.
John was pretending for a long time until it became obvious that he didn't know.
So his brother, you guys remember?
Oh, I've heard this story. Yeah,
no, I never said that. I never said that.
Yeah, his brother.
Don't play it off like I said anything remotely close to that.
So for those who don't know, his brother was killed in the terrorist attack in New Orleans over New Year's, where the guy drove the car down.
Okay.
Down Bourbon Street, and so his brother was the Princeton football player who died.
Okay.
So he was a second round pick out of TCU.
John still doesn't know.
Anyway.
It's like, what happened?
Anyway, receiver is not their biggest strength, but like, if you are going to commit a lot of resources to covering Brock Bowers, then that means you're probably going to be singled up more or a little bit more exposed on at the outside, which is where somebody like Gonzalez would come in, where it's like, okay, like, we know we don't need to worry about whoever Gonzalez is covering. Now, and we'll see what happens, with Carlton Davis. Like, that position just isn't the strength that they thought it was going to be, at least as long as Gonzalez is out.
Can we play a game that I have been interested in playing? Is that would you rather for this game have Geno Smith or Drake May?
It's a really interesting question.
It's a lot of conflicting. Well, the reason I like the question is a lot of different answers.
I think Geno Smith is criminally disrespected.
The same with Phil Perry said the same thing.
I think he's criminally disrespected. Like, I just feel like he's a really good player, and there are a lot of people. I think this happens to Sam Darnold too. There are a lot of people who just won't let go of.
Because he was on the Jets.
Well, it's not just that. But
I'm kidding. And there was the punch in the face, and it was like kind of embarrassing.
I think it happens with Baker Mayfield too. You know what I mean? Like,
if you don't succeed in your first place,
if you don't succeed in your first place, there are people that just will not let go of. They will not let go of what they saw your first couple of years in the league. They will not. They become married to their take on that player.
And a lot of people don't see Seattle play, and it is true. Like, Seattle is not a team that they were a good team last year. They didn't make the playoffs, so how many times did you see them play? It just so happened they played the Jets. I saw them beat the Jets, and Geno Smith's good, legitimately good.
I mean, the Patriots fans should know it because he came here and played well last year, right? So, I mean, if you're talking for the next 5 years, no question, I'd take Drake May.
Sure.
If you're talking about for this Sunday, based on what we've seen to this point, I think it'd be hard not to take Geno. Geno's played really well the last 3 years. Geno was in a tough situation last year and still played well. Like, he won 10 games with an offensive coordinator who got fired because he couldn't put together a run game. And they still won 10 games. And, so I just don't see – I have a hard time seeing where people don't see him as a really good quarterback right now. Doesn't mean I'm calling him – Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Lamar. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, but he's a good quarterback and you can win with him. And sort of like Alex Smith. I feel like that's like he's sort of like at that stage of his career, he's kind of like what Alex Smith was.
Right.
When Alex Smith got himself back up off the mat after not playing real well early in his career.
We have to get audio of this. I just thought of it, but Ryan Clark and Dan Orlovsky. Ryan Clark is he's having a conniption fit. I'm not exaggerating, over Arch Manning, but then it bleeds into Peyton Manning wasn't a generational talent.
Brady wasn't a generational
Well, no, but Brady wasn't a generational talent.
Is that just about how big you are, how far you can throw the ball, and how fast you run?
I think maybe, but Peyton Manning was the number one recruit and went to Tennessee where he was the biggest star in college football. And he was the number one pick. Brady, that's the whole story of Brady is that he wasn't.
Right.
But it's also just how you can tell Ryan Clark might know he's not winning the argument by the complete meltdown he has. But Peyton Manning, and I know Peyton Manning wasn't a universal pick at number one, that there was some Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning thing, but he was the biggest recruit coming out of high school. He went to Tennessee. He was the biggest player in college football, and he was the number one
true freshman.
Started as a true freshman. Started 4 years at Tennessee. Right. They won the SEC with him. He was the number one pick in the draft. I mean, it's hard to say someone who was the best at every level they played at that they weren't a generational talent.
I like Ryan. I don't know what he's getting at. I feel like it's probably. He doesn't look like Josh Allen is a generational athletic talent, right? Josh Allen is 6'5", 250 pounds, and can break off a 70-yard run.
Went to Wyoming. He wasn't any good in high school. He wasn't particularly good at Wyoming. He developed a couple years.
But he had elite athletic traits.
No, I know, but that's not a generational talent. Right. That's a great athlete. Now, the debate was Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson had a lot of success at Louisville, and so that was the debate. But, no, you can't debate Peyton Manning's bona fides against Josh Allen's bona fides. I mean, Peyton Manning was just a better prospect all through his life.
Right.
And a better pro quarterback.
And I think Arch is really talented too. I mean, I was there on Saturday, and
yeah, you were.
I will say, I actually thought he showed some resilience. I think the problem is everybody else, and I'm going to defend him a little bit here. I think the problem is that we all built him. Like the Mannings didn't ask for this.
No.
You know what I mean? Like the Mannings have tried to shield him. The Mannings didn't have him doing a lot of media when he was in high school, and they wanted to try to, and Cooper deserves credit for this, try to create as normal a high school experience as he could for his son, who was never going to have a normal high school experience because of the position he plays and because of his last name.
Mm-hmm.
And Arch there was a quote from about a month ago where there's this safety on Texas team, Michael Taft, who was a starter the last couple of years. He's one of their best players. He's one of Arch's best friends. And he said that he told this story to a reporter from Yahoo, Ross Dellinger. He said, yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but Arch actually said to me, I can't wait till I throw my first pick and I go from being the best player ever to the worst player ever. And I thought of that when things weren't going well for him on Saturday. Because saying something like that shows such tremendous self-awareness for they're building me up, but I haven't done crap. You know what I mean? And I don't deserve all that. I just think it's everything I've heard about the kid is that he's got a really good head on his shoulders, even down to I went out to dinner with Quinn Ewers at the Combine, who is the guy who was in front of him the last 2 years at Texas.
Who was the number one prospect in the country.
Who was also the number one prospect in the country. Quinn Ewers would have every reason you could possibly imagine to hate Arch Manning, right? Here's a kid who came to Texas after Ewers was already the starter, number one recruit in the country, last name, hype. Every time I throw an interception, people are going to be, why don't you put Arch in there? Had every reason to hate him and could not have spoken more highly of him.
What'd you guys eat?
I think we were at a pizza place in Indianapolis.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, I
think
think
my
it's
wife and a friend.
Did you have a conversation about toppings? What do you like on your pizza? Well, what do you like? I'm easy. I'll take it.
We were with a group of people, but I do think it was
Caligula.
I think it was again, I think it says something. Everything I've heard about Arch is that he is as normal a kid as you possibly could be for someone who's grown up like he's grown up.
Right.
And I don't know. Just the stuff around him is
it's crazy. And look, playing at Ohio State, your first game is
the people who projected
as hard as it's going to get.
The people who projected him to be the number one pick, you can't. Even NFL teams don't know what he's going to be.
No, and again, you played at Ohio State the first game of the season with no preseason. It's a very, very difficult thing to do. All right, we'll be back. I mean. I don't almost understand it. I don't get why everyone it's like you're an idiot because of his last name. You're so obsessed with it. It's just I do not understand it. And it's not even one of their kids. It's Cooper's kid. So it's even less of a.
Well, you build it, but this is a whole process.
Yeah, I know. As you build them up so you can knock them down.
It's this ongoing fascination with Americans wanting their own version of royalty. It's a new form of Camelot in the NFL. You want to have this thing where you can pass it down from generation to generation, even though that type of thing doesn't exist. You're not handing down a title. It's you've got the talent to be one of the 32 best at something in the world, and you just expect them to have it because of his last name. It's ridiculous, but that's what people want.
Well, we got an 8th grader named Marshall Manning coming.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I don't dislike the Mannings. You know why? Because they have not acted like Belichick. They have always seemed to have a sense of humor, and they seem to
There's a
not
self-deprecating.
Yes,
part of
exactly.
Yeah. For all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.